I am going to be going through the basics of painting with the encaustic wax iron. This is a special iron used for painting in hot wax, and you melt the wax onto the flat surface. Unlike a regular household iron, it has no holes in the base. I am using coloured wax blocks to paint with, as well as some special sealed card, non-porous and non-absorbent. My setup here is quite straightforward. I have lots of tissues here which are going to be very useful. I have a tissue pad here which is used for cleaning the iron, and backing paper to protect the table, individual sheets of backing paper or newspaper to discard after each painting so that the wax doesn't rub off going on to the next painting you're making. And my waxes are to this side. I'm right-handed. If you were left-handed, you would swap everything around. I have more pieces of card here to be using, and my tissues are to hand. First, let me introduce the iron. This is a specialized low-heat tool, which is perfect for melting wax quickly and is the primary mark-making tool used in encaustic wax painting. It has a temperature setting dial here on the back, and the handle is actually removable. It comes in the box with the handle folded up, and there are other practical uses for why this is a useful feature. The handle attaches with this little clip on the back, like so. Once the handle is attached, you can adjust the temperature setting. The temperature settings don't go very high, but it's a good idea never to paint with a temperature setting that is higher than low. This just impacts the flow of the wax. You turn the dial clockwise to turn it on until you get to the low setting, and then turn it down a notch or two. Whilst this is warming up, I will tell you a bit about my colours. These are colours which I handpicked myself to be very beginner friendly. These are beeswax blocks mixed with pigment, and they are melted directly onto the iron and flow just like paint. There is a nice selection to this palette with lots of pale sky colours, dark blues and greens, some metallics, all the primary colours, and of course this block of clear wax, which comes in handy for lots of different things, the main one being for cleaning the iron. Right, the iron is heated up now, and it's alright to very lightly touch the iron. You won't burn yourself, it's not that hot. And just give it a quick swipe onto the tissue pad to clean off any excess wax that might be left behind on the base of the iron. If there are any stubborn marks or smudges on here, you can just take a tissue, bunch it up and just give it a light rub to remove any marks. If there's a lot of wax left on here from a painting, we can take our clear wax and rub it onto the base, then wipe it away on the tissue pad, and instantly that cleans everything away. For the purposes of this video, I'll leave this over here. There are many different ways to paint with the iron. You can use the pointed tip of the iron to draw quite fine details with. If you put in some time and practice and have enough control with it, the best way to do this is to hold it with the handle behind, like this. You can also use the edges of the iron for drawing straight lines. Another technique you can use with the iron is a dabbing technique with the base of the iron, which can create wonderful shapes and patterns. The edges can also be dragged along the wax to create undulating lines. Now it's time for some painting. We take our iron and hold it flat so that the base of the iron is face up. And we take a color, a basic dark color which will show up, and we load the base of the iron with this color. Make sure the wax melts fluidly and evenly over the surface. Now we spread it over our card. Now, in the iron, a piece of tissue, and wipe the edges gently with a piece of tissue to get off any of the excess wax. Just here. Reload the iron and slowly drag back and forth in different ways to get a variety of undulating patterns. Now let's build a painting using colours and marks that complement each other. First, clean the work area, get a new tissue, clean the iron. This green is a stubborn colour which doesn't always come off, so we use the clear wax to remove any traces. Also remember to wipe down the edges because the wax can drip down the sides. And remove any marks from the base that may remain. I'm using a very dark purple to fill most of the iron and a complementary yellow filling the rest of the iron. Now spread until you get an even coverage. Now move the iron back and forth, up and down to mix the two colours into each other slightly. Now this could be a jagged mountain landscape. However, yellow seems more fitting for a sky, so turning this over, we'll add some more marks. Some different marks. Taking the flat of the iron, we can drag along the bottom until we remove quite a large amount of wax. Now, by using the edge of the iron, I can cut into the wax to create a fence pattern in the foreground. This is one type of landscape, but it's a bit too jagged. The joy of this medium is that if you're not very happy with it, you can just try again. Here I'm using a slightly lighter touch, similar up and down movement with the iron. This blends the colours together a lot better. Now you can try the dabbing technique with the flat of the iron. This creates a nice range of hills effect. The sky here now looks like a stormy aurora. But one final touch is needed. Taking the edge of the iron, do some little strokes of grass going up in the foreground on both sides. Now, there we have a basic landscape. Thank you very much for watching.